As soon as that gets triggered, you can't go back once you go down that rabbit hole of knowing yourself.
Welcome to Mediumship Sparks, where we connect more deeply with spirit and source and follow the sparks of insight and inspiration that bring us greater awareness, healing, and just more flow into our lives. I'm Noelle Dean, intuitive medium, licensed therapist, and your host. A quick note before we begin: this podcast is for educational purposes only and provides general information. It is not medical or psychological advice and is not a substitute for care from a licensed health professional. I'm so grateful we get to step into this together. Let's dig in. Welcome to Mediumship Sparks. We have a special guest today. So everybody, this is Jennifer Rose.
Hello, Noelle. Thank you so much for having me on your program. Honored to be here. And hello to all of our viewers who will be sharing this space with us. My name is Jennifer Rose, and I come from California, and I work as a psychic medium. I am also a healer and a transformational guide, a speaker, a podcast host, and a writer. I work in all kinds of mediumship, including trance and physical, and I love channeling. I do a whole bunch of things, and I teach as well too. I am very busy, but I absolutely love what I do because it lights me up. If I was this busy and didn't like what I did, that would be harder, but so I'm very blessed.
Wonderful. That is a long list.
It is.
It is. How long have you really been engaging in all of this work?
I started my development like 2015, 16. So it's been a good 10 plus years now. And it was jam packed because I put myself through like spiritual boot camp and did a lot of training in a short period of time, a lot of spiritual awakening as well. So it's been a very intense decade for sure to get me to this place.
That is a
Yeah.
lot packed into 10 years.
It is.
Yeah. One of the things that you help people with is their own awakening. Is that correct?
Yes, because I've been through it. If anybody comes to me and they're going through that, they think they're going crazy, or they think I'm going to think they're crazy. And it's usually very mild compared to what I've seen and heard or experienced myself. And that's important because that's something that people are very scared to speak about, because some of the things that are happening to them are very unusual. They just need somebody to believe in them and trust them and be able to hold the space and have them not feel judged in any way too. Usually if they're like, you're going to think I'm crazy. No, I will not.
You'd be surprised at what sounds normal after a while.
Exactly. That's so true. In mediumship land, that's absolutely true.
There are times you probably have this too where you're like, holy crap, what am I saying?
We forget because we're in this container with people that are like-minded, and we forget that somebody who's not in that container might hear what you're saying and come to a different judgment on this twist too, because we're seeing the unseen, we're hearing the unheard. We're experiencing things on a metaphysical and symbolic psychic level, feeling intense energies that are different from what other people are usually tuned into. So we have this hyper attunement to the extrasensory perceptions and the world that is coexisting with us that most people don't know is coexisting with us until they awaken themselves.
Yeah, I'm sure they would feel like I was blissfully ignorant, but now I don't want to turn back.
Spiritual awakening is very hard on the psyche and the mind because there's a breakdown of belief systems in how the world works, how your relationships work, and who you think you are. As soon as that gets triggered, you can't go back once you go down that rabbit hole of knowing yourself. When your versions of yourself keep changing, it's like the evolution gets sped up versus a regular person goes through their maturing process much more slowly. This really rapidly transforms you into more of who you are. I don't want to say the whole personality is false or an illusion, because you come in with an essence that is you. But then there's a lot of layered programming and things on top of that can be unraveled and let go of. But sometimes it's very quick when that happens. And that's really hard on the mind to discover who you thought you were is not who you are now. And so that gives you a very existential crisis. It's very hard on people. And a lot of people, they don't want to talk about the dark things that they experience. And by that, I don't mean bad spirits or things like that, just spiritual darkness. And it's the higher self or the souls, for whatever reason, how it's been designed, because we live in this framework of duality, we experience darkness or in the psychic visions as well, kind of like having a bad dream,
Mm.
right? But you're just a little bit more aware of it because you're not fully asleep yet. And so that happens for people too, and they don't understand it. And they may think something's coming to get them and things like that too. And they don't realize that your own consciousness will create projections within your mind to teach you something. And in the shamanic cultures, that's known, it's very common, right? And they go in their initiations, or someone's being called to become the next medicine person for their community and things like that. They look at this as very normal. That's why people get scared to talk about it because they don't understand it too. But it's a way of integrating duality and experiencing it in different ways. The soul essence of us is very symbolic and it likes to tell stories. Some are beautiful and some are a little creepy sometimes. It's like the dream world. That's just what it is. So, but in the end, you come out stronger each time or more integrated each time. And that gives you another resource of spiritual energy for creating a better life. And having more of your intuition available to you as well. That reconnection at the end of these episodes that we go through, that brings us into total connection with the universe and the energy that is everything is eternal, right? And you look at a tiny flower petal or a leaf or a blade of grass, and it's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen because you see the perfection in all of it too. So that part happens too. And then you get to see divine beings there with you as well. There are gifts at the end of this difficult, dark pregnancy that we go through.
I love how you articulated integrating the duality and not seeing things in a black or white, good or evil, or something is coming to get you. But it can be really startling to experience some of the energies or the visions that you can get. And
Exactly.
my awakening was very slow. Thank goodness. It's about integrating all these things and not shoving things away. I love what you were saying. It really makes you question who you are because you come in with this essence. We have layers of socialization and expectations and culture and family. How do we even know who we are? Really? It's like scraping off the peanut butter. There's still more, and now there's another layer.
It's so true. It seems never ending. I think this sort of maybe chasing enlightenment is maybe not the best use of people's time because there's probably always going to be more layers. I have been through so much spiritual awakening and I crossed the bridge of fully embodying the understanding that I'm not a separate self, that my personality is not separate from my spirit. So beyond intellectual knowing, that's how far I've gotten. But I'm still working through more layers. Oh, that was there. Oh, I thought that was me. Okay, that wasn't me. This is more me now. So I'm still becoming more me as I go and still learning, even with all of the work that I've done. And I've done a lot. We'll probably be doing this until that's okay. We'll just keep cleaning house.
You think enlightenment is this ultimate goal, but it isn't. And I would question anybody, including myself, if we said, oh, yeah, I've done all the enlightenment I'm going to do, and I'm doing great right now. It feels like the
Yeah.
continual evolution of becoming freer and this cleaner version of ourselves all the time. And whoever we're okay
Yeah.
to evolve into, given this new foundation of connection and integration, it feels not just unpredictable, sometimes a little uncomfortable, like really uncomfortable, to feel like I'm living a life that was unpredictable based on who I was.
Yeah, I understand. If we think we've made it, there's probably going to be another something that's going to show you there's always more too. So, yeah, I feel like I've reached a much greater level of authenticity that I've ever known in my entire life. And I'm so happy about that and so proud of that, that I worked this hard to be this much me as I am. There's always going to be more. I'll be more authentic next year than I am this year because I've done more work, more integrating, more know thyselfing. Sometimes when you look in the past and go, oh, that version of me didn't know. She thought she was this. And it's wow. But we can give ourselves some grace that we did the best we could with what we had and what we knew. Those versions, once they're given the love and the appreciation, hopefully they just integrate and anything that's false can fall away and that energy becomes usable for something else too. So it's like we got to give up the ghost, meaning who we thought we were, because sometimes that part can come forward again. Maybe at times that we're like, oh, who was that just now? If we don't integrate all of these versions of us, they'll find a way out to say, hey, I'm still in here somewhere. So all of that needs love. As soon as you see it, as soon as you know it, And as soon as you give it the eyes and the voice that it's asking for, then it usually comes in and you get into that awareness. Like this part is no longer the absolute truth of who I
Mm.
know myself to be now. Yeah.
I love that. Part of my conversation with my friend this morning, it was how still upset I feel about our relationship with a family member. And I'm like, thank you for listening. How are you not sick of hearing about this? And she said, it's not the same conversation we would have had a year ago about this. You keep changing. It's almost like it's a different shade of the problem, but it's not the same because you keep changing. I wish
Exactly.
I could reach in and squeeze that younger version of me that's still hurt and hold her and heal her and let it, but I'm still not there yet.
It's
Yeah.
really hard. And what you could say to that part of, if it matters to you, it matters to me. To,
Mhm.
if you're my friend and you're going through something, I'm not going to judge it as insignificant. I'm going to say, if it matters to you, it matters to me. And we could do that for ourselves too, instead of saying,
Mm.
oh, that's silly. I shouldn't be worried about that. But that part of you is. And we try to
Yeah.
intellectualize it away. And those parts will not, they just say, nope. They just say, nope, none of your logic and reasoning helps me right now. They just need love and to be heard. And so sometimes when my parts, I can hear them in my thoughts, those younger parts of me, and I just go, I can totally understand why you would feel that way and think that
Mm.
way. I get it. I feel you too. And that way I'm not resisting what is. But it takes a lot of practice because I used to just, and this is the one tricky part of law of attraction that people need to be really careful about, that they're not disassociating from their thoughts because their
Mm.
thoughts are messengers. So if you just say, I'm not going to think that thought, I'm going to think positive, those thoughts are coming from parts of you that are trying to get your attention. You have to listen. You have to listen to them. And I would just be like, no, thanks. No. And I would just switch my mind. I got really good at it. And then I started listening. And then I was like, oh, look what's going on in there. Wow. I didn't know you thought so passionately about that.
What a beautiful way to apply compassion to yourself, even
Yeah.
the parts you don't want to look at because you're sick of hearing about what they're upset about.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
I know, yeah. And I go, oh, my friends must be so tired of hearing me talk about the same person or same situation over and over again. And then I think maybe I just need to be quiet and not do that anymore.
As you're listening to them talk about their same things over and over again, because that's what friends do and
Yeah,
that's what people do,
yeah,
right? Until we reach that place of maybe greater resolution or acceptance, more
yeah,
of what it sounds like you're talking about. And I hadn't really thought
yeah,
about hearts work in that kind of way, but what a beautiful
yeah,
way to look at it that my
yeah,
year old is still very upset right now. And if
yeah.
I do treat her like, you're right, you're right. I agree
Mhm.
with you. Yeah.
What would we do with if it was another person, if it was another child? What would we do? We'd probably sit and listen.
Yeah.
Especially you being a therapist, you would listen to them without judgment. We can do that for our inside parts too. I found it very helpful anyway.
Mm, yeah, I could see why.
With mediumship, one of the first problems or issues that we counteract is the perfectionism when we start developing, right? And it's like we compare ourselves to the other students and then we try to be perfect. And when someone says, no, my grandfather didn't have brown hair, he had white hair. And then you hear that, no, oh no, I did something bad. I failed spirit. I failed this person. I'm
Mm.
embarrassed. You have to learn to be okay with not getting everything perfect. So we have to heal that sort of inner achievement perfectionist in us. And I still am. I'm still very much into high quality and try to do everything the best that I can. I don't beat myself up over it if it doesn't turn out perfect. I just go back and
Mm.
refine it. But in the beginning of our development, it's so hard to let go of cultural achievement that if we don't succeed right away, then something's wrong with us or we failed or because of schooling and parenting. You probably know that better than me being a therapist, right?
But also
Yeah.
being a very flawed human being, I'm totally with you. Coaching people and even dealing with my own self-doubt for such a long time. I didn't think of it in the terms of perfectionism. That's such a great way to look at it because it's not like a test you can pass with an A plus. A
Yeah.
long distance phone call, even though it feels very close. So
It's
we do the
true.
best.
We're trying to translate
Yeah.
another language. Spirit speaks in another language. They speak through
Mm.
symbols and through senses. And we have to be really good translators without over interpreting. So we don't get everything perfect. It just doesn't happen. And there have been mediums doing this much longer than me, like 30 years, and they're excellent. And they still afterwards will be like, was that okay? They'll say that once it's over, no one's there. Was that okay? I wasn't feeling my best that day. It just means we all care. We're all just trying our best. We want to do well for spirit. We want to do well for the person who's receiving the message. And that's a lot of pressure. So we have to be
Yeah.
careful with not too much pressure. But the was that okay? I think when I hear that, I'm like, that just means you care. That's a good thing.
It's a
But
good way to look at
yeah,
it.
we'll have
Yeah.
readings that hit the mark. Oh, and then you have another that was felt like pulling teeth. You just try your best and keep moving forward. But yes, if there's any aspiring mediums, they'll be able to hear this and give themselves some grace if one of their readings doesn't go as well as they hoped it would.
Or if all of them don't at first, you have to
Yeah,
really work your way through all of that. Even if you get a few pieces of great information for somebody and you get a lot of stuff that you have no idea what it was, or you were nervous, or your brain started kicking
yeah,
in, it's
yeah,
still bringing a loved one closer to them. So they would
yeah.
still be grateful for that.
That you
Yeah.
tried. And there's no substitute for practice. And do the self development because spirit will reward you with your development if you're willing to do the work on yourself and do your own healing process or maturing process or self development work too. And you will get those little rewards. You've reached this next phase. Here we go. We're going to unlock that door for you. And now your clairvoyance is going to be that much better.
Mm.
Like, oh, thank you.
I love
Thank
that you
you.
brought that up. It's like we earn a little bit more trust. We're
I love
given more ability, more depth, more sensitivity. Yeah, it is a rewarding process to do that and to trust yourself more. I'm finding that my mediumship lately, things are getting even more subtle.
I love that.
I
Yeah.
do and I don't. In some ways, it's a little bit scary. I check in when I get something, but I'm finding that I'm getting even, it's less information, but I still feel it more. So it's like a claircognizance, but it's just as it's coming out of my mouth. The clairs are developing, but yeah, I don't think I could have dealt with that a couple of years ago. I think that would have just felt way too uncertain. And I would have been afraid to open my mouth and say what I was getting.
That happened to me too, because I was in the beginning primarily clairvoyant, and then I was
Mm.
working in a much more clairsentient way. And then when the claircognizance kicked in, I was like, what do I do with that? Because it was like it was a floating in the air kind of thing, right? Once I figured out what was happening, then I understood it and I started trusting it. So, yeah, those things will happen. And then they'll all start working together all at once to my heart hurts sometimes when I see a message coming through a medium, and I'm fully supportive of mediums. But when I see a message coming through and the way that it's being transmitted to somebody, especially if it's in a public demonstration, I'm like, that's not completely spirit. I can tell that's some of your stuff that you're going through that's coming through you right now because of the way that you're saying it. And my heart just goes because I don't, it's such responsibility we have to uplift people, to give them healing and uplifting and not make them feel any worse too. So when we try to continue growing ourselves and being the best we can be, we'll be better mediums, more compassionate, more empathetic as well.
Love that. So you do a list of things, sister. What
Yeah,
is
I
your
do.
favorite right now? What is your favorite? What makes you the most excited to do?
Honestly, I love everything that I do. It all lights me up. It all rewards me in different ways. When I am connecting mediumistically, maybe even more when it's for a group in a public demonstration, just because there's multiple people, multiple spirits. So
Mm.
the power is more amplified. And I also connect with the angelic frequency as well. So when that frequency is in play and I'm connecting with spirit and I'm delivering these loving messages to people, that's when I feel the most beautiful. The best way I can say it, I just feel like I'm in all of this beauty and it is me. It's like I'm this blossom and I'm more than Jennifer. And Jennifer is all kinds of amazing things. I love myself, but connecting with spirit world. So it just brings me a sense of home. So I love writing. I love connecting with star beings in my channeling. I love teaching and seeing people grow and seeing them blossom as well too. It's all amazing and beautiful. But when I am connecting that way, it's another level of just pure beauty because the frequency is so high, the love is so amazing. And I'm just like, wow, that's why I keep doing this. That's why I
Yeah.
keep doing the hard work. I get busy with writing. I get busy with my shows that I work on and all my other responsibilities. And then I've just booked a public demonstration. And then I go and I'm with all of these lovely people and all these lovely spirits. That's just like being home again. It is the best.
Oh, it sounds like bliss.
It does. Yeah, that's what it feels like. It's like that for that little hour and a half. That's what
Mm.
it feels like. The most amazing things happen. The synchronicities, the way that the messages are all themed together. and you realize it's all been orchestrated. Everybody was guided to be there. The right spirits were there. The right messages
Yeah.
were there. I wish that I could give a message to everybody because you don't want to leave anybody going home sad. I didn't get one.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be a bit of an emotional burden you have to let go of each time because people are coming there hopeful.
It's
Yeah.
hard. I can feel it too, especially when it's within a group. I remind people it's like spirit really tries to maximize how many people they reach. So if I'm reading for somebody and I'm reading their mother and spirit, there could be four other people who are be like, that sounds like my mom too, except for
Mm,
those couple of pieces that are not my mom, but that sounds like my mom and I feel my mom. I wonder if that's my mom. That probably means their mom is in fact there. And they've purposely arranged the information that's coming through so that you're thinking of them and feeling their presence. And something in that message probably will resonate for them too. It's just the evidence won't be as much as it is for the person who actually is receiving the message. They can take most or all of the evidence, whereas the other people, there's some pieces they won't be able to take. And then sometimes you get those piggybacks where two spirits coming in tandem. That
mm.
happens too. But if you hear something in somebody else's message that perked your ear or touched your heart, it's probably meant for you to hear too. So they're very generous. Spirit is not stingy. They're very generous with healing. So just ask, give me healing, all of it. Don't say, please, could you just heal this little cut? I don't want to ask for too much. No, ask for
Mm.
all of it. Just ask. They'll do whatever they can for you. We deserve it. We're human. We're doing the human thing. It's easier than being in the spirit world. We're doing the hard thing.
So, what kind of stuff do you write?
I write a lot of spiritual poetry, so that's mostly channeled. And then I have been starting some writing for some other publications
Hmm.
talking about mediumship and different things too. That's newer, but I'm enjoying getting that part out there too. It's easier for me to channel because I go into that space and the words come out or they come right out my fingertips. When I have to do pieces that are a little more me in there, I have to slow down. I'm working with two different parts. I'm working with my higher self and the spirit world and then my own mind in tandem together to make this come out this way. So it's more Jennifer is in those writings too. That's good too, because I like that as well. I like allowing that part of me to also have an expression too. So, but even with my channeled poetry, it's like I always say it's spirit, but it's me too, because I'm part of the process. So I never completely be like, oh, I did nothing. It's all spirit. I want to give myself a little credit because I'm part of that process. I'm the channel and I'm also spirit too. So we have to remember we're spirit too. It's not like we're just a personality and they're the spirit world and let's put them on a pedestal. We are spirit too. So we can honor our own spirit as part of the process.
I love that. You're part of this and part of the equation. I like
Yeah.
how you said that when you channel, it's a very different process, including yourself, your whole self
Yeah.
also. That's a whole other way of writing.
I really enjoy it too. It's fun. My style is very poetic, and the spirit world is that way too. The rhymes and riddles and things like
Mhm.
that. When that comes through, I know what I'm connecting to, and that's fun. A really fun frequency to work with. And elementals like the fairy energy, it's super magical, very whimsical, very elevating. I have a couple friends that we co host a show together doing those kinds of readings. People love it because they
Hmm.
need the elevation. They need to be part of the magic and the wonder and the awe. And that's a very fun frequency. I would recommend people to tune into. Just go out in your garden and say, fairies, are you out there? Talk to me. Let me feel you or something and feel like the delight because that's needed right now. That's a very high frequency that's
Mm.
needed. People need to be reminded of their imagination, of magic, of wonder, of awe. And that's it's a very beautiful and fun and play. So we need to play to keep things in harmony with the seriousness of our planet right now.
Yeah, for sure. And very
Mhm.
different than just going out into nature. You're talking about calling
Yeah.
in energies,
Yeah.
welcoming the connection with them. Very
Yeah.
different than just grounding yourself into the earth or
Yeah.
being among the trees. Very different.
That's a beautiful energy too, because
Yeah.
it has a substance to it. And our body's a chemical and electric, right? We have that too. So grounding is really positive, especially for us spiritual folks, because we're pretty spacey.
Yeah.
And we like to go off into Neverland. So we need to be embodied to fully fulfill our mission here of what our
Mm.
soul is wanting to accomplish through us for humanity too. That's very important. But this elemental magical energy, it's very fine. It brings in laughter and giggles and a little
Mm.
naughtiness. And we need that too because we've been taught to conform. And so we
Mhm.
need to be a little bit like It's okay to not care about what everybody thinks about you all the time and do it exactly the way the world has taught you should be, because that's not you either. We have to find out, who are we before everybody told us we were supposed to be a certain way to be considered valuable or worthy.
Or to be cared about, even.
That's a big hero's journey, to know who you are and claim that. And if people don't like that, I don't mean do things that harm anybody else. Just be authentic to who you are. And if it doesn't match somebody else's version, it's okay. Keep being you. People end up being more attracted to that than they are to somebody who's blindly following all of the rules, and trying to be good all the time. Right. So the fairies invite you to step a little bit out of the box that we've all kind of carved up. We're all a little peeking out of the box. Can we come out and
Aw.
play?
I appreciate what you're saying. We
Yeah.
really feel the resonance when we're around certain people who really have achieved a level of authenticity. And
Yeah.
you really feel it when they haven't.
It's a
I'm
very
trying to
different
be
energy.
I'm trying to be a little bit less judgmental, but I find myself using that filter in a lot of places. I think part of it is that there are things that people want you to be curious about them, and I just can't do that. I just can't. It just feels so egoic and like recognizing an identity they're trying to carve that isn't who they really are. And I just don't want to relate to people that way.
Yeah.
Even if somebody is a lot more grouchy than the rest of us think is acceptable, but they're really just themselves, I would so rather be around that person.
Because they're not performing from what they really are. I get that. I can see what's going on in the background of people's egos sometimes too. And I use that word very carefully, because that word has become a bad ego. You need to
Mhm.
go away. You need to be like killed off and wiped away. That's not self love to me. So I use that word very gently, but I am aware of the harm that an unhealed and unintegrated ego can do in the world too. But I can see what's playing out in the background, because I am curious about how we work and why we do that, and the different costumes that we wear as we're out playing out in the world. I watch my own, but I can see what's playing on other people's things too. I know. And the hard part about that is it can sometimes get a little bit lonely, because people don't always know what they're doing, and we all get in it. We all have our things where we're moving through something and we're immersed in that story for that period of time, and we can't really pull ourselves out until the energy works its way out. So we all do that, but sometimes you realize what's playing out and there's not much you can do about it, because that you see it and they can't. And so then it feels a little bit lonely, because you're like, you're in the game, but you can't change the way somebody else is playing in the game, other than to try not to get hooked into it.
That makes so much sense. And as empathic
Yeah.
people, we have to take seriously who we spend time and energy around, because that's what's impacting us and we're impacting them. And I want to be around people where I don't feel like I have to work hard to connect or to be okay with them or patient with them, because they're just in such a different mindset. I don't mean like a kid, but like another adult that I would be friends with. A lot of my friends are mediums or spiritual people, and that's just easy. It's when they're not that way that it gets
Yeah, then
tricky.
it's a little more challenging. Yeah, they think very differently sometimes than us. Our belief systems are a little bit different too. So that makes it hard to relate. And it's no one's fault where they are in their journey, but they're just not as conscious of their reality that they're in. They're just fully immersed in being the story. You and I go back and forth. We go in it, we go out of it. We're trained to be consciously aware that we are in it, so that we have some agency and can make the biggest impact. And we keep practicing that every day, but they're fully in it and they don't know it too. Hopefully, we can just, by modeling, help them to see, not that they need to be different, but to see that there might be an alternative. And so, what is that person doing that makes their energy feel this way? What could I do to potentially feel this energy in myself? That little spark, or even if it's a midlife crisis, is this all there is? Is there anything more that happens to people in their 40s and 50s, right? Just to spark a little bit of what else? What is that? That could be the trigger that is needed, because the more people that can start to awaken to a conscious version of themselves, you're going to see a lot less of this violence and duality playing out right now as we see in the world. So we need mass awakening. I do believe that it's happening. but I'm saying that we need it. If we really want to create a more harmonious, peaceful world that doesn't have all of these problems, we've got to become more consciously aware and get ourselves out of the sleep. And it's not about judgment, it's about evolution and survival.
And I like how you said that. I
Mm.
sometimes think of it like I've got one foot here and one foot there. It is going back and forth. So are you currently teaching?
Yes, I teach mediumship development circles and I have workshops I do occasionally when I can fit them in my schedule, like weekend workshops. I do a mediumship essentials workshop, usually over a weekend, sometimes over weekday nights, depending on the schedule. That doesn't mean go put a sign on your wall because you've taken a workshop. That doesn't mean you're ready to go say, okay, open for business. It means you've gotten the foundation and now the practice comes. But it gives people a foundation. I teach trance healing as well occasionally, and a few other things too. I do really enjoy it a lot too. I love watching people grow and blossom, and a lot of healing happens. You think you're going just to become a better medium, but because the students are all reading for each other, a lot of healing happens. You're getting messages and you're connecting with your loved ones. So that's been beautiful too. I one student in particular, and he's very open about this, he came into class and he was resistant to connecting with certain loved ones because of how they had behaved, and he laughs about it now, but so much healing has happened throughout the years doing development circles that he is in such a better place. He welcomes them
Wow.
anytime to come and give a message too.
Oh, that's priceless.
There's a lot of gifts. We have a high cost to do this work. It demands so much responsibility of us, so much work we have to do. And we're doing it for our soul and for our spirit world. And our lives will dramatically change, even our physical reality lives will dramatically change. Relationships will change, families will change, where you live. All of this changes. Your economics can change too. And it's like, why it's so hard, I don't know. But there are many gifts that come with it too, of your own healing process and having our mediumistic abilities, our psychic awareness. It's really fun. It is really fun to be psychic and to have a connection to this other world that is right here next to us. It's there all the time and we know it and we're connected to it. So we get to play and dance in that energy too. And it's fun. You and your friends, when you pick up on something and you go, oh, that. And they go, oh, yeah, I just did that an hour ago. And we always joke, oh, we must be psychic. It's our little corny joke we like to do. It's super magical. So it definitely comes with its gift too. I've gotten to meet so many beautiful, wonderful people around the world. I'm very grateful for all of those blessings. And so it's a lot of hard stuff, a lot of blessings. That's being a medium.
Good way to put it. Think about a
Yeah.
lot of other professions where there's so much training and precision that goes into the work that you do. And this is very much that way, continuing to
Yeah.
train. I'm always in courses. I think I'm in 3 right now. I really believe in continuing to grow personally, professionally. We owe it to ourselves. I agree. It really does change your life, your experience of life. We just feel so much more connection and love and the beauty of life and relationships. I have my own little testimonial of my sister passing about a year and a half ago, and we hadn't spoken in 11 years. That was just what it was. And now, a few weeks ago, I had a friend visiting, and she and my husband were talking about my sister, and he was like, oh, yeah, about my sister. And I was like, are you talking about my sister? Like our relationship is so different. I'm defending her. You don't even know her now. She and I have mended our relationship so much and we have positive interactions. I don't drive a whole lot, but when I do and there's some good 80s music on and I turn it up, I know she's sitting next to me singing with me, just like we would have on a good day. And there's
That's the
nothing like it.
best because you lose the shadow elements of the personality. Those get basically healed away when you go back into your full awareness or consciousness. She's still your sister. The essence that is your sister is still her. It's just a very whole and healed, beautiful, powerful her version that she is now. It's all of her now. And
Mhm.
I love sometimes when I'm connecting with a spirit person and they kind of shape shift because they're showing me as they were when they were in the physical. And then they turn into this big glowing light. And that's as they are. And it's, ooh, that's so cool. And even spirits who were like really bit naughty and bad when they were here, like they're in their full glowing light. Yeah, they're in their full glowing light. They're just not like that now. And they also have no problem saying they're sorry, taking responsibility, saying, yep, I did that. I'm sorry. See
Yeah.
how it affected you. They can see it all of how it's affected you. But there's always compassion because they didn't get to do those harmful things without things happening to them as well. So there's tremendous compassion that goes around the life review.
I like life review.
We can do that here. We can model after them, be less afraid to say sorry, be less afraid to take responsibility, and review our own life with compassion. It's a brave thing to do.
My understanding, especially after reconciling with my sister, is that us having this situation while at least one of us is still here is
Mhm.
ending some of the karmic ties that we had for reliving some of the cycles that we had been stuck in. So I'm
Yeah.
encouraging people to resolve things while you're still here and the other person is still here if you can. But even if you
Yeah.
can't, to really recognize they are different. They really are different.
Yeah.
Even if they haven't been gone long, I had a parent come in just a few days after they crossed, and oh my goodness, I haven't cried that hard. How sorry they
Yeah.
of how they treated
Yeah.
their daughter, and they're telling their daughter over Zoom. It was intense. It was beautiful. And yes, they
Yeah.
come through with apologies and a reality check of, oh no, you're right. I really was that way. I wasn't thinking about
Mhm.
this, and I really am
Yeah.
sorry. I get it now, and I'm really trying to do better. What
Tremendously healing.
for
And
everybody?
that's a gift of being a medium, knowing that you're part of that healing
Yeah.
process. Because those people, they need to hear it too. A lot of people were waiting until the person's deathbed to hear the I'm sorry, and they didn't get
Mm,
the I'm sorry. And then finally they get it through a medium. Thank God, right? Because it's very healing when someone says, I see that, I see
yeah.
you, I see that, and doesn't make excuses. They might paint a picture of giving us understanding of why and how they got that way. They were abused too when they were younger, and this is a cycle that goes down the ancestor line and things like that too. But they don't use that as an excuse, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Totally
So
get that.
teachers,
They don't
mhm,
justify their behavior.
they give
Yeah.
understanding because even if we're ready to hear the apology, we may not be ready for the full understanding of it. It depends on the
Mm.
person and what they're ready to receive. So they may be better to get more understanding later down the road as they're just metabolizing the apology part.
Yeah, which would
Yeah.
probably be very
Mm.
unexpected. And this is a great
Yeah,
plug for developing your own mediumship skills to support other people, but also to support yourself. Because then
absolutely.
you get to hang out with those in spirit in a way that you're
Yeah.
actually aware of it and can
Yeah.
appreciate feeling the love and the companionship.
Absolutely.
Priceless.
Absolutely. And anybody can be a medium. It's just not everybody's meant to do it as a profession.
Yeah.
But anybody can develop their mediumistic connection because we are all spirit. We never stop being spirit just because we're in this human reality. And so it's just a matter of opening up to it and doing some practice, be willing to put some time
Mm.
into allowing those parts to develop and enhance your sensation. You don't have to develop to the point where you and I would because we're working professionally. We have immense responsibility, but just enough that you can feel them around and you can understand that they're there and that they're giving you signs and symbols and synchronicities. And that's pretty darn magical. So,
And they can bring their sense of humor and their personality. So my husband and I were having this conversation about my sister, and he has a New Zealand accent. He says something about her karma, but he says it.
right.
He says she was so unsupportive when she was here. I'm like, I'm not disagreeing. My sister's not disagreeing. And as I leave his office and go around the corner, I start hearing my sister. She goes, "Come," and I hear, "Come, Camille."
Chameleon, come,
So she's
the
giving me
boy
an
George
80s
song.
reference, which is perfect. And I
Uh,
couldn't help but laugh. And I felt bad that I'm laughing at my husband with my sister, which would have been such a sisterly thing to do. But truly a magical experience to be able to be connected with your loved ones on the other side in a joyful
yeah.
way.
Yeah, they
Um,
absolutely do have a sense of humor. They do not
oh,
take
yeah.
things as seriously as we do because they see the bigger picture of it. And by having a sense of humor, it raises the frequency too.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm an 80s music lover too. So I love it when they bring me music to as symbols and messages too. And a lot of times in my readings, when things get heavy, all of a sudden they'll go into a happy memory or they'll make a joke or something like that. And I explain to them they're trying to harmonize or balance out the
Mm.
frequency because they don't want to get you too low and keep you there for too long. So then we'll jump, and all of a sudden now we're going to this happy childhood memory because it's just they're being very careful to level out the
Mm.
experience of the person that's receiving it too. And they don't want to re traumatize anybody too. So it's so delicate. That's why the responsibility comes in. It's so delicate to bring through the apologies in a way that you're not overdoing the evidence.
Yeah.
Is that's where we can get too evidential. So if someone's been murdered, you're not going to talk about all the blood and guts that were all over the street. You're going to just be like, I can tell their life was taken and this weapon was involved and it was a sudden passing. As much as you got to do, because otherwise, why would we do that unless they really wanted to know? Yeah. So we're not showing off. Mediums aren't to show off. We're there to heal and help.
And to
So,
remind. So for
yes.
anybody who's listening, if you're interested in getting a mediumship reading, learning about trance healing, trance channeling, or learning how to be a medium yourself, Jennifer Rose, and how can people reach you?
Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed this conversation. You're lovely. So I
Aw.
resonate with you so well. So thank you for this time. I'm very grateful and honored that we were brought together to people can find me at Medium Jennifer Rose and on social media. I'm on Instagram at Jennifer Rose Medium. And on Facebook, I'm on Jennifer Rose and Medium Jennifer Rose and at Medium Jennifer Rose on YouTube. But go to my website. It's all there and you can click on it from there. It's easier to just go to my website. Thank you for that.
I just want to say that part of learning mediumship or intuition or psychic skills, it feels really important to be able to feel a genuine heart connection with the person that they're learning from, because it is such a deeply held, deeply felt, and sometimes deeply feared thing to step into. And my
Mhm.
experience with you, Jennifer, is that you are nothing but authentic and clear and clean and sweet. And it's
Thank
been
you.
wonderful spending time with you. And I would highly recommend anybody who's looking into any of these things to connect with Jennifer and see if working with her feels right to you. I wish you best in your journey. Thank you so much for spending this time with me and with all of us. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for spending this time with me on Mediumship Sparks. If this episode resonated with you, please like it, subscribe, rate, and certainly share it with somebody else who could benefit. If you're interested in any support I might be able to provide as you navigate your spiritual path, please feel free to check out my offerings at connectingwithnoelle.com and reach out at mediumshipsparkspodcast@gmail.com. Take good care of yourself, and I'll look forward to being with you again soon.